Welcome back to the 9. It's your boy Pharaoh Venom 911, aka Marlon, blue shirt guy. So, last time we were here recording, I talked about my crazy and different ways that I feel drove me to be the crazy that I am today, so I'm gonna just discuss a little bit about my life and my point of view on things. Most of the time people will kind of tell you what they feel they want you to know. I'm the type of person where I'm gonna tell you where I went wrong, where the other person went wrong, etc., etc. I'm not just going, it's not all black and white. I'm gonna explain those gray areas. You know what I mean? Like, growing up, for instance, if you followed my crazy story, videos that I uploaded, growing up, I was separated from my brothers. So, having to grow up in the Bay Area away from them and fend for myself a lot of the time, you start to develop a different view of things. You know what I mean? And I don't think my point of view is like too many others, which makes it very, very unique. And I appreciate that about my journey. But I do feel like some things were avoidable. You know what I mean? That both I did and other people did, and shit I shouldn't have stuck around for. But it's all making me into the man that I'm on course to be. It makes me think about multiverses, and if you could change course of direction by every day and every moment and everything that you do, which I truly believe in. But how did I get to that perspective of belief? Because a lot of people don't start there or don't get there at all. I know some people who are in their 50s and 60s and they don't understand that concept of a multiverse, or that we're all living together. The many versions of you is living simultaneously at once in different universes that are parallel to each other. And when those collapse in on each other, you have what's called the Mandela effect or things like that. And they would like to make you believe that there's one person who's in control of that, when really it's a collective. You know what I mean? The conscious collective, the Akasha collective, however you want to spell it. It's life force energy. And life force energy is returning back to the planet at a certain frequency. And it's making things collapse. Things that probably have been here for too long, that have been in the way, or are insignificant now, or maybe a failed universe. Maybe there's several universes that met their end game and we're still on the brink of ours, or maybe they're trying to solve the end game of ours. Who knows? But how'd I get to this point of perspective, right? So I've explained already that I'm crazy, but there's different forms of what people deem as crazy. I don't know if my form would be something that is desired by most, but I've been told by few that they wish they thought like me. And I guess in a way, since I haven't gotten exactly what I wanted out of my thought processes in the past, I wouldn't necessarily agree with it. That's putting me in a position to want to do something about it. And one of the many things, like when I get that thought process that starts the feeling of urgency and in the sense of work, but not in the sense of like working for fulfillment, in the sense of work that I need to get out into the world, a message that needs to be heard, or something in general that I just feel needs to connect with other like minded people. So when I get that feeling from those thought processes, I usually stumble upon something very impactful to my life. Now, recently I just lost one of my older brothers, and it's made me think that I need to do another shroom trip, or maybe a shroom trip, or maybe a heavy dose, maybe something of a heroic dose, just so I can reconnect and absorb some of that energy that's out there now. Because there's too much going on right now, energy-wise, to not be in some form of meditation to receive it. Now, in any other times that I've done shrooms or LSD or anything of that type of nature, I've always had very profound downloads. It won't necessarily be the dreams. It won't be, the things that I'm seeing around me that are like signs and things like that, the synchronicities. Those have always happened. It's the downloads of information that I get that make my perspective very unique, because they're not one-sided. They're very fair. They're very into wanting to get past the humanity of it all and get to another form of understanding, energy understanding, a soul plane of understanding that I guess was the initial premise of religion, but it just was so perverted over time for control and man's purposes and etc. It led to degradation in these types of religion. Not really into boxing myself off to things. So if you're a person who knows me or has had a conversation with me and you feel I'm just being contrary to be contrary, or you think I'm just having some type of need to be right, you're completely wrong. You don't know me at all. I don't care about being right necessarily. I feel like there's two things out there. There's right and there's wrong. And everybody has their different perspectives of that, right? But I feel like that's wrong too. I feel like you got to go by the universal codes or the nature codes that is provided for you at the time of which you're in. Nature doesn't do absolutes, no, but nature does have a pattern of right and wrong. Morality is just like salt on top of that, but it still beats in the point. For the further hard-headed people who don't get it off bat or don't understand energy and what's being said to them. There's a certain way you got to do everything. You know what I mean? You can't just go to any door that's locked and expect any key or anything to work, or you just leaning on the door and pushing it to open the door up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. Trying to explain things as simple as that to people, it's like pulling teeth. It's like pulling fucking teeth without anesthesia. Why the fuck don't you get it? Why isn't this just apparent to you? Why haven't you gotten that download yet? And I remember, free will can also be misleading. Sounds like something an evil dictator would say, but it's true. Ignorance is bliss to a certain extent. Free will is just misleading to a large extent, because it leaves you to know nothing if you want to know nothing, even if there's a problem staring you right in the face. Now, me personally, not the type of person who can sit around and just watch problems just be problems. especially being one of the only men growing up around a group of women. I want to solve the problem and get back to a neutral state of being as much as possible, so my mind can function properly in a optimum way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have distractions from my thought processes, because then I'm not within my bliss. I'm not within my forward progressing bliss. And that's something you need when you're on the forefront of what society has to offer today, which is a whole bunch of bullshit. You need bliss in your mind. You need quiet peace. Because there's all this talk about this and that and this and that, this shot or that death or this toll of that and toll of this. People worried about relationship stuff. People worried about all the wrong things besides themselves, and getting in touch with themselves better and projecting things on the other people that they feel like that person should be helping them with. But how are they going to help you with something when you can't help yourself with it? You don't even understand the simple thing they were trying to teach you in elementary, that when you're upset, you need to take a moment to yourself and take deep breaths, because you're about to make an ass out yourself. It's not about the other person. You're about to make an ass out yourself. And most people proudly go. They dive right the fuck in. It's not a problem. As long as the ego is pleased and, oh, I showed them, or I screamed and I yelled, or I beat somebody up, or, you know what I mean, something hella trivial, something that don't mean nothing good or is going to lead to something very bad. You know what I mean? Like, people pride themselves on that. And it's like being stuck in idiocracy, or the evolution of where idiocracy is heading. Like, a bunch of brutes who are just the forefront of this society, and it's damning. I have a son, you know what I mean, and nieces and nephews and things like that, and they're gonna grow up in this world, and I wish it could be all happiness and sunshines and, you know, ooh, baby, everybody's just gonna be nice to you when you get older. They're all gonna love you, but there's gonna be haters. There's gonna be haters, and you gotta acknowledge that fact. You gotta have them be aware of that fact. You know, I was actually just talking to my girl about this the other day. I was like, you know, it's fine that you want to nurture our son. He's only 4 now. That's cool. Give him all that now. But when he goes to school, like, he's been to daycare before, that's kind of like a little school. There's little kids that don't like him just for being himself. He's beautiful. He's happy. He's joyous. And some kids aren't. Some people aren't. Some people just, they want to take that and they want to taint it a little. You know, misery loves company. So I can't just, honestly, with good intentions in my mind, be like, yeah, only show the boy love. That's misinforming him. That's, you know what I mean? You send somebody who's been nurtured, nothing but nurtured, and nature's going to chew them up and shit their ass out. It's not going to be nothing nice for them. I've seen people go into jobs, and because somebody didn't like them, they let that get in the way of them making their money or making progress in their life, and they quit. And then, you know, they do other types of weird stuff, or, you know what I mean, like, just stagnate themselves, just go live off some other chick or something like that, or think they about to start pimping, or think they about to start selling drugs, or, you know what I mean, like, just because the working was too much of a mental anomaly for them to understand. They didn't understand the diversity and the complexity of the fact that not everybody's going to like you, and you need to know how to maneuver around this shit to get what you came for. Don't leave until you get what you came for. You know what I mean? I'd be damned if I let somebody tell me I don't like you. So, you know, motherfucker, you need to do something about that. I looked her right in the face and be like, okay, you don't like me. Good luck with that. I mean, thank you for letting me know you a hater. You know, because if you don't know me, you really don't got no reason to like me. And if you know me, then you love me. You know what I mean? Even my haters love me. So that's just what the fuck that is. I just can't, you know, my father was killed by haters. The curse that I'm living, that my family's been forced to live with, is because haters. You know what I mean? Dad was a 21-year-old man, married to my mom, kids and stuff like that, doing his own thing, taking care of his older kids from another woman, just really hustling, really pushing the line, just got a house and all that. Gets murdered in the house because of haters. And it's not, you know, like my dad was naive to the fact that there's haters, but it's always the people closest to you. You know what I mean? It was one of those situations. Some backdoor shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, growing up my whole life, I've always been very keen and aware of that. I've always been very, okay. Yeah, buddy acting weird. I ain't even got time to figure out what the fuck that's about. Get him away from me. Or get away from him. If not, man, one of us is going to end up doing something stupid, and one of us is going to end up dead or in jail. And there's been instances, there's been situations, especially growing up in Richmond, the Richmond, Oakland, Vallejo area, there's been situations where, you know, and it's funny, my mom mentioned this earlier, last year, about me moving to SoCal, because I just merely mentioned it. And she was like, no, I don't want nobody to mistake you for somebody else and shoot my baby. You know how many times niggas have mistook me for somebody else in the Bay Area where we lived, and I didn't have fucking backup? I didn't have my brothers, my uncles, my whole fucking family to fucking turn to. I was just out here by myself, running, scared. I ain't had no fucking gun or nothing. You know what I mean? Niggas done tried to straight take me out over thinking I was somebody motherfucking else, or straight up had to deny that I was family to somebody because I know they be on bullshit. And then stop going to that side of town because I don't know what the fuck's gonna come with it. They not telling me, oh, yeah, I got into some, stay from over there. You know, they know me. You know, stay from over there. People is hitting me on some, you look like you could be related to, you know what, such and such? No, never met him. Name sounds weird to me. And I got a different last name from, you know, my mama and them sides, so it's like, primarily growing up with them and them getting into shit and me having to, you know, duck some of that shit sometimes, I just be like, all right. Can't be seen in public with you. All right. Other shit going on, just craziness. Even speaking of family, even family trying to get over on you, even family getting over on you. You know what I mean? I done been scammed by my auntie on some dumb shit for a little bit of money that wasn't even that serious, but I guess, I mean, shit, it is to her. Instead of coming together with me and utilizing my talents and abilities with her networks and connections and things like that, you decide to go the other way on it, man. It's not really I can't turn to you and feel like you family because you abused me and felt good about it. How am I supposed to feel for you? Why shouldn't I have this perspective that I have where I'm hoping that another Mandela effect will come and we're not family in that universe? You know what I mean? Like, bloop, you just don't exist anymore. Oh, remember such and such? No. And then I'll be the only person with the memories of your ass, and then you literally just vanish from all photos and Facebook and all that other shit. Your kids, they gone too. It's fucked up to even have to think like that, but I know it's a possibility because there's certain motherfuckers who they saying is dying today who I've known to been dead. Maybe I'm from a different fucking universe or something. I don't know. Like, Sidney Poitier just died. Sidney Poitier just died. And they're saying he was like 90 something, like 91 or something like that. I remember watching A Raisin in the Sun in the 10th grade and them telling me Sidney Poitier had died. Like, yeah, he was a great actor. He died at this time. You know what I mean? That was the 10th grade for me, so forgive me for not remembering what time. But when they recently said Sidney Poitier had died, I'm like, what type of bullshit is this? That nigga been dead. He's been dead. Over 2-3 decades. So, I'm just wondering what's up with that whole thing. But yeah, I want a Mandela effect like that to just come and pick up some of these people and just bloop them away. You know? There's just so much going on mentally that I take a sit back and I just sit and watch a lot of this shit unfold on an energy level. And people walk around unconscious of that because they're so focused on the physical. And the physical is just like, man, it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I guess that's part of why I'm on here, because I can't have these conversations with people that are around me. You know what I mean? Consider this like a APB for anyone of like minds to come and have this conversation with me, because there's so much happening energy-wise that I can't talk about with people because they look at me like I'm fucking crazy, or they just don't understand it. They act like they don't understand the energy they felt, even though they can describe feeling it or describe it making them feel good or making them feel bad. Like, they don't understand things on an energy level, you know? And I've been guilty of being ignorant to this too in the past, because I didn't have to use it. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I've just never had to, you know what I mean? Now I'm at the point where I'm just like, something's gotta happen with this, because this message and this energy gotta get out there. There's certain things that need to happen that need to just provide a way. You know what I mean? And this, I feel, will hopefully touch somebody and cause them to teach somebody or reach out to me so we can teach somebody. We can do anything of the sort to get this message out, because it needs to be said. There's waves and waves of energy being produced every year that shift these multiverses, that shift our current living universe that we're in, that, you know, this simulation, it shifts it each time somebody dies. Each time somebody that we all know and love dies, and it's connected to us and it makes us feel some type of way, that's harnessed energy, and you need to do something with it. You know what I mean? We're not talking about what needs to be done with this energy or joint rituals we can do as like neighborhoods or groups or whole cities where we can literally just heal our community based off of what we're feeling that can be a detriment. We could be feeling something that's really bad. A candle lighting is one step, but it's not everything you can do to purify a block or a city or the hearts of the nation and things like that. It's not enough. It's never been enough. It's always been one side of the coin. You know what I mean? I know for a fact I've read too many books on how to prepare the dead and rituals to do to make sure that they get a full pass on from you. You know, there's no confusion. They know where they're going. They know that they're dead. They know, you know, all that, because you might not think that there's confusion after you die, but there is. If you're not in the right conscious mind, if if you're not in the right space mentally, there's confusion when you die. Very much. You know what I mean? It's been foretold throughout all different types of movies, shows, all types of shit. You know what I mean? You get trapped between different types of energies. And so we need to learn how to release them. We need to learn how to come together and do a death ritual. Come together and do a life ritual. Come together and if we feel that person's going to rejoin us, do a ritual of resurrection. You know what I mean? Do a ritual of helping their soul ascend to the next plane. Things like that, man. There's not too many people out here talking that talk or even walking that walk. I aim to be one of them. Throughout my music, my art, just me speaking on camera, all that shit, I aim to be one of them. I aim to be not necessarily a teacher or anything like that, but a pillar, somebody who can let you know, confirm the things that you have seen, because I can't do the work for you. I can only tell you, like, hey man, it sounds good to me. Sounds like you're on the right path if you're really actually trying. Most people don't try. Most people just go, oh, I'm thinking, and how do I? You know what I mean? They can't even center themselves to be still and quiet their minds and just close their eyes and just be. They don't know that they're bathing in these energies every day because they're just on the hamster wheel, back and forth. Oh, this is what I have to do, this, that, and then there's social media. You know, it demands some of your attention. The bitches, the niggas, the babes, the whatever you choose to distract your time with. You know, I spend a lot of time listening. I spend a lot of time practicing. I spend a lot of time devoting myself to learning about new ways and techniques and mental realms to get to higher forms of discipline. You know what I mean? And it's made those lower forms of discipline line up with who I naturally am. You know what I mean? Like, they all fit within inside of me to a certain degree. So doing that, I just learned how to, I know thyself. And in doing that, you'll learn many things about how your enemy has tried to destroy you, or tried to distract you, or has destroyed you by distracting you, or misled you, or misinformed you, or miseducated and stole your identity, usurped your power into things like that. It's not something complex. It's really not. It's really, when you get down to it, it's very, very simple. But what confuses people is their romanticized ideas of it that complicated. You know, like transmutation. You'd think transmutation was this outer body magical thing you have to draw stuff for. And, you know, that's in people of my generation, especially growing up watching Full Metal Alchemist and things like that. You would think transmutation happens outside the body instead of in the intestines, in the bloodstream, in the veins, leading to the brain, into the genitals. You would think transmutation is something you got to do outside the body, that you necessarily need sacrifices for. You can sacrifice things for yourself. It could be just as much as a transmutating, you know, energy. Anything that you've ever done outside of your body. That's why people have things that they give up for Lent. That's why people have, you know, what's that shit called? Fasting, Ramadan, things like that. Because they're disciplining their body so they can transmutate a different type of chemical that the body is producing now that nothing's in the way. You know what I mean? There could be things that you know are affecting you on a mental level that you give up, like social media, like your phone, or being distracted by the blue light, or even if you're going to be on it, you have to be on it for work purposes or your way of lifestyle and living and things like that. Applying blue blockers, you know what I mean? Or just the little steps lead up to things over the year. They tend to have a snowball effect that'll lead you to doing things that are holistic. But it's a process. It's not something that you do overnight. It's something you do over years' time, and you accumulate while working. You know what I mean? It's very much like being a flowing river, and stick after stick, block after block, is damming you up so you can be a reservoir. The river still flows, but there's a certain part of it that's reserving to control the rest of the downstream river. You become more, and therefore the ground around you is more equally fed from your life force, your thoughts, your love, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say. It's a deep experience to go through something that is transformative for you, and learning how to transmutate things to be able to manifest things is deeply important. And I bring that back to the death rituals and the life rituals again. We need to get back into that, because mourning our death, the death of our loved ones, isn't enough. We need to love them past a certain extent, love the life that they had. We need to usher them to a certain extent. And maybe the rituals that we've done or been doing is so watered down from us doing it a million times that we need a new plate to eat off of. We need a new table. We need a new, you know what I mean? Like, that channel is stale. We need a new channel. And we need to start creating on that new channel. You know? That's just a little bit of what I wanted to touch on. I'm going to be doing these videos more often. Let me know if you're interested in anything I'm talking about. I can make them longer, because I do these like hour plus drives. I can make them shorter. You know, if you just want bite-sized information. I'm not on to the editing and timestamps and things like that yet, but I will get there. This is the 9. Your boy Pharaoh been on 9/11. Thank you for listening. Good night.